Alright, so today I want to talk about the fate of Orochi. And yes, this is something that's still up in the air, and I do feel that there was a chance that he could be coming back, and probably even soon, given the timeline of things currently in the manga. So in order for me to talk about that, I'm going to have to go into multiple spoilers, not just for the webcomic, but also some things that Murata has said on his stream, which may or may not happen in the future of the manga, which is like beyond webcomic stuff. So if you don't want to be spoiled about anything, just don't watch this, I guess. So as we know, Saitama defeated Orochi in Chapter 108 in spectacular fashion, and in the follow-up of Chapter 109, Giro more or less confirmed that Orochi was dead, maybe, probably, but there's the whole lingering doubt out there that the community has, not just me, that Orochi might not be dead because of what happened after he was punched, and that he said a few lines of dialogue, which only really Boros was able to do before that. Now, of course, this is indicative of his strength, but it also could be some insight into Orochi possibly not being dead. So that's why I want to talk about all of the stuff Murata has said regarding this whole sequence of events, just Saitama and Orochi, and what is going to happen, as well as what the original plan for Orochi was, and how that might be giving us some insight into Orochi coming back very soon. So Murata went on to say that Orochi is probably included to let Tatsumaki get injured, so Psychos can use the opportunity to sneak attack Tatsumaki. Having her directly sneak attacking and injuring Tatsumaki in the original was a little far-fetched. So this is where it's going to begin, the whole thing about Orochi possibly coming back, because I feel like this might have been an original concept way before the whole Saitama meeting Orochi and his first death, we'll say. Because even if Orochi doesn't show up, this is still something that One and Murata have been talking about. They don't like the way that this played out in the original webcomic, and they want to change it. They want to expand upon it. They want to make it better. So will Orochi still be a part of this, or will it be something else that causes this to happen? But let's go further, and then I'll go talk about that more, because we're going to get into the big part of this video now. So Murata accidentally showed One's remarks and notes written regarding Orochi, but it also says that the story will be different from the initial plan. I mean, obviously it is, as we've seen so far. So the original plan was Orochi swings at the S-Class heroes with his monstrous strength. However, the S-Class heroes dodge and toy with him mercilessly with their speed, and give the feeling that Orochi is just a boss that possesses nothing but pure strength and size. Orochi's horns transform into dragons and spit fire to the S-Class heroes, and Orochi transforms into a huge monster. 8 S-Class heroes fight together, where each of them deals with and defeats one of the dragons, while Tatsumaki finishes off Orochi directly. Just when everyone believes the fight is over, the executives who were originally buried by Tatsumaki appear on the surface. Alright, so let's get into this. So this sequence of events is obviously happening right after Tatsumaki pulls the Monster Association out of the ground. You know, considering what he says at the very end here, the executives or cadres who were originally buried by Tatsumaki appear on the surface. And of course that's because of all of the mass spread destruction and debris that happens when she does that. So let's also go into the 8 S-Class heroes that Murata's talking about here. So we know that the Strike Team originally consisted of Darkshine, Atomic Samurai, Pig God, Puri Prisoner, Zombie Man, Flashy Flash, Tatsumaki, and Child Emperor. So it's not going to be Flashy Flash and Darkshine because they don't show up until later. So we can cut them off the list. And then maybe not Puri Prisoner either. He could be there, maybe not, but maybe the other 3 that he's referring to here, or maybe just even 9 possibly, but we have to remember that Bang and Bomb are still there, so they'll probably be a part of this. And then Geno still hasn't shown up, so maybe this is when Geno shows up, because we know that he's back at Saitama's apartment, and this is definitely going to be, if he doesn't come back before this is definitely going to be the definitive reason why he re-enters the fight. And then of course Am I Masked. So maybe that's why he's talking about them being so fast and just playing around with Orochi's horns that are traveling, because those are speedsters for sure. You know, Atomic Samurai, super fast, obviously. Am I Masked, Genos, Bang, and then the rest of them that I mentioned, not so much. And then maybe Tatsumaki, she's super fast too. But I'm probably referring to them. So they're going to have something to do other than just struggling against the cadres, because obviously that's going to happen. They're all essentially going to lose except for Bang and, whatever else happens after that point. But maybe that's why Orochi comes back, so it just gives them something else to do. Maybe it gives them more feats, more upbeat moments, if you will, other than just completely getting destroyed for the rest of this arc. And also it says something very interesting in that Orochi transforms into a huge monster. That's odd because Orochi's already a huge monster. So maybe when he comes back, he's like in a smaller form. Maybe that's all he's able to manage after getting wrecked by Saitama. And also I assume that maybe he has some kind of regeneration ability, because we know that the more powerful you get and the more closer you go to the removal of the limiter state, or just when you keep doing the revival from death power dynamic that Garo and Saitama have gone through, and obviously we know that Orochi has gone through, that's how he's become as powerful as he has. You seem to obtain some kind of regeneration ability. Because, Saitama obviously has some kind of regeneration ability because he was all marked up and had a whole bunch of scars while he was training, and he doesn't have them anymore. Garo just recently developed this ability after surviving his near-death encounter with Royal Ripper. Also, the hole that Orochi put in his abdomen after getting, stabbed by one of his horns, he recently regenerated from that. We saw in Chapter 115. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to believe that Orochi probably has this ability. And probably over time, maybe he can pull himself together because his body parts and stuff were down there along with his head. So maybe he pulls some of those together, or maybe just the big headpiece, like the plate of his head that was left on the ground that we saw Giro observing. Maybe that forms into a smaller form. So maybe that's what he's talking about here when he transforms into a huge monster. So maybe that's how he gathers his energy or something, and then later he's able to transform. And maybe the dragons that we're seeing them fight are smaller forms coming off of the new horns that he has, possibly. I just think that it just seems like this might happen because we know for sure that something is going to change for Tatsumaki to be constrained by Psychos. Obviously they weren't happy with how that originally happened. So either Orochi comes back here and then she high diffs him because it says that, she finishes him off directly. So maybe after her struggling with Orochi and eventually taking him out, maybe at that point, Psychos, takes her over instead of her just being distracted by fighting the evil natural water and homeless emperor, possibly. Or hey, maybe even Drive Knight's still there, Even though I do think that he's going to leave very soon and take the support team along with Oganma back to the Hero Association, so he's no longer going to be involved in the rest of this arc. It's a possibility that he's still there, but since we're on Drive Knight, let me go into something else interesting that I think might be tying into this sequence of scrapped events. So 2.5 years ago, Murata revealed to us Drive Knight's chariot form, his cool Batmobile motorcycle thing that we just saw revealed in Chapter 118. He said on stream that his bike form would be a waist here, so I changed it to a centaur form, which of course he's talking about, I assume, in Chapter 66 when we first really see him go into that mode and he's interrogating those monsters. And then he shows us what the abandoned bike form was. So why does he say it would be a waist here? Is it because he knew that Drive Knight was going to be playing a major part in this story later on, taking out Neon and whatnot, and maybe he didn't want to use the form there because it was going to be more significant later on, so he just wanted to use the centaur at that point. But still, this goes to show us that this was not going to be scrapped, and it wasn't going to be thrown away completely, but maybe it was just later changed for a significant date, and maybe that's what's happening with Orochi here. Maybe this whole storyline is still going to happen, but they just wanted to have Saitama beat him so that there was that big part in the manga, and something more for Saitama to do, because he doesn't really do much in this arc in the webcomic until the very end, of course. So maybe that was just something for Saitama to wet his whistle, if you will. So, but maybe Orochi will come back, like I said, and maybe he will do that whole little thing where he fights a majority of the S-class heroes and then eventually gets offed again. But it's all speculation, but there is something interesting here to look into. And like I Uzumaki pulling the base out of the ground is going to happen within the next couple chapters. I think before the end of the year, it's probably going to happen. So let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think it's possible Orochi's going to come back, if not just for a little bit, to give the S-Class heroes something to do before they inevitably lose to the executives? But if you liked it, guys, please give it a like. I also have Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll